Hi there, it's Polly here with Mr. Snoots. Yay! So, I was just going to fill you all in. I have some games coming out through Wizard Tower Games. So, what's happened is Wizard Tower and I will be cooperating on 2 games in the immediate future and hopefully many more in the future. Wizard Tower are a fantastic little games company based in the USA. They can get things out into brick and mortar stores, and they've been doing a lot of work with people like Tim Kask, who was one of the original AD&D people from TSR days and so on. So I'm really, really pleased to be working with them. Don from Wizard Tower Games is a great guy. And so this is great. So we got 2 games leading off to start with. This is going to cover role-playing games initially. However, it looks like there's a lot of enthusiasm to do board games and war game rules and everything, for which I've got ideas. Don's got ideas that he wants me to pitch in and help him develop. So this looks like it should be a fruitful and rather joyous collaboration. So this is great. The first game, however, let me tell you about the first game. So this has been on my drive for a while now. It's Snarkberry's Academy for the Magically Inclined. Now this is a setting book for Dungeons and Dragons with a lot of rules modifications. What it does is it takes the Dungeons and Dragons rules. We've written it up for 5th Ed, which is the popular version now. And this does a magical Wizards Academy setting for the game. So, the magical boarding school for prospective witches and wizards is an old genre. And the original key properties are things like the Worst Witch. And there are many others out there. And it's been around for many, 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 many decades. Kids in the 60s and 70s grew up on this. And so the idea is to do this environment. So the key is that obviously it can be enjoyed by adult people who love that kind of genre. But this can also be a game for younger players who want to play that kind of magical school setting. So this could be an entry point for many young players into the game. So one key to this is it changes one of the pillars of traditional D&D gaming. It's not about combat and death. There is danger, there is excitement, there is still the impetus to avoid nasty monsters and so on, but there is a non-kill system in play, so that what you will typically find is the damage you take will be to your dignity and to your nerves. If you have rivals and so on at the school, these aren't fights to the death, but you're trying to overcome them and overawe them and give them what for and give them a comeuppance. This isn't play where 2 characters are pitted against each other to the death. And likewise, as you go on explorations, and some of these things that you can explore and do might be quite spooky, might have problems to solve and monsters to avoid and so on, but it's not a hit points based thing where you are going to basically be facing death situations. You are more often going to lose your nerve and flee, or become exhausted and unable to go on. There are still those kind of hit pointy systems there, but they don't really come into play at all. They're not for you, because a starting character is going to start at 11 years of age and they're going to be brought into this school. Now, these boarding schools, they have like I said, it's a genre of their own. What I've set up for Snarkberries is that it has a lot of sort of anime influences. So it's got some bright, boppy 80s, 90s, 80s anime feel to it. Lots of colourful races. There's the dragon halves and half blobs and things like that you'll find in anime. A ton of great sort of animal races, extra-dimensional races. Plus we've got, Tiofings and Celestials and Ratlings and all sorts of cool and interesting things. You can be a penguin. But the core message that you'll find pretty much on page 1 is inclusivity. imagination comes from possibilities, and possibilities come from inclusion. So you can be any gender you want. You can have this marvelous array of creatures that you can be. The sky's the limit. Making this remarkably difficult from different from another property of this sort that we're not even bother going to name. So part of the hope is that this will be something that you can bring kids into, because they would love to play this. So it's kid friendly, kid accessible. The language of the thing is for kids. Obviously, they'd have to be able to understand the Dungeons and Dragons rules, but D&D's got lots of online resources that can teach the core elements of the game easy. So teen players and younger players as well. And there's also kind of the sad and lost. There's people who loved the genre but have been betrayed by one of the creators, and they really feel that they've lost something. You can see their mourning. They've had to turn away from the creator because the creator is toxic. Come and play Snarkberries. Get your genre back. Bring the fun and the love back. It doesn't have to be that specific IP. This is a genre that we can all do and love. So come on in. Come back to school. Have your high school hijinks. Beat that bully. Solve the conundrum. Find the mystery. Go on holidays. Find there's something strange in the ruins underneath the old beach house. Do it all. The world's your oyster. You can have it raw. So the game has a system where you start off as basically a 0 level character. You're actually tougher than a wizard, really. And you are a child that is going to study at this academy to be a wizard. It is a boarding school, so you come in, we generate your backgrounds. Apart from what race and so on you are, there's a whole system for doing your horoscopes and your planetary aspects, a whole way of figuring out what your background is. Were you some kind of strange foundling? Has the Thieves Guild snuck you in here as one of its prospective students? Are you from rich families, poor families? All this is in there. We also record what your birthday is, because what you do is you generate a character, but then we wind back a lot of your characteristics, because the character that you've rolled is what you're going to be like when you're 18, when you're grown. So things like your constitution, which represents bodily toughness and sheer physical strength and so on, will be way lower. Every time your birthday comes around, these go up 1 point towards their adult values. So when you're 18, yay, that's where you were. Also on your birthday, you get some other little special things as well. What we're doing is generating characters for you, and then everyone pretty much gets some pretty simple equipment. In you come to the school, you're introduced to friends, you're finding potential allies, potential rivals, potential background people. Here you go. All of this is yours to play. The school has beautiful details. The whole place is mapped out, not just the buildings and any little surprises in, around or under them. There are environments around them, because a big part of this genre is finding your special place, your special home. And in a way, the school is your special place and your special home. It's so eccentric and so eclectic, and in many ways so beautiful, it becomes a place that you love. But also, in the woods around it, in the places around it, there are hidden nooks, there are waterfalls, there are valleys, there are magical places and forests, there are magical pools. There's a creepy, deserted, somewhat terrifying city. There are old ruins. But these are places that you can explore, and these can become your special places. This is where you and your friends go, and this is where you collect. This is the places where you study, where you relax, your special sanctuary. So everyone gets to find their magical place. There are scenarios in the rules for, going off on seaside holidays, because Enid Blyton has shown us every time you go on a seaside holiday, you'll always be confronted with some sort of mystery or ancient secret to solve. It's lain there for 1,000 years, but by damn, the moment a bunch of 12-year-olds turn up, gosh, five go mad and Dorset's here. You get to solve the thing. There are rival schools, there are hellish sports days, there are sports carnivals, there are clubs, there's wacky libraries filled full of amazing books to explore. I've explored and expanded things like familiars. Summoning familiars is done very, very early on. So there are masses of different spells, 0-level spells that these 0-level characters begin to learn, but they're very colourful and interesting and fantastic little spells. But one of these is the Find Familiar thing, because you do that fairly early. Because another thing that you can do is run a whole series of adventures for your familiars who get up to their own hijinks. They've got their own little society with each other. They have their own places up in the rafters and under the floors, and whole places and buildings that they collect. They're very good at sort of stealing treats and sneaking off the food, but they can also kind of get off school bounds when you can't. So you can use them to do all sorts of things. So running adventures for your familiars is a thing. You can summon animal companions, so everyone's got the ability to basically Pokemon this thing. You can have amazing creatures. These familiars, it's not a toad and an owl or something. There's this whole thing for when you go into magical places to summon familiars. You get magical, amazing familiars. Not just, there's a whole stream of different kind of little pseudo-dragons you can have, but if you go down to the seaside, here are all these ocean and seashell and sand and water creatures that you can get. If you're in haunted areas, you get others. If you're in desert areas or mountain or snow areas, you get all these different amazing creatures. You know, great big fat bumblebees, little cactus pups, strange little tiny dracoliches, little tiny succubi, all kinds of strange little things. You know, it's colourful, it's fun, it's amazing, which is, you know, the key to this. So that's what we're doing. This is on offer. This is where we're making a place for you to play those school hijinks, those school mystery games from, you know, this genre that has been loved. I've provided the framework with a lot of individual adventures and places to explore. You can put your own bigger story arc in there as you build the story for characters. The rewards of this is not, you know, money and body count. The rewards for this is friends and personal development and learning more about this amazing world. These things last, whereas money's spent and gone. So this is what it's about. You gain spells and skills and abilities over the years as you get better and better. Study hard, adventure hard, and go through this long, amazing campaign, which can last as long as you want. Because once you hit adulthood, and that's going to be a lot of play, you've got 7 years of kind of week by week, term by term adventures and things going on. But you can stay on at the school because, of course, this just goes on. You know, there's a whole university and so on attached to it. So you're home away from home, hopefully. So that is Snarkberry's Academy for the Magically Inclined. Coming soon from Wizard Tower. Second game that is going to be coming out from them immediately is another one. Hopefully adults will like it, but people from a younger stream will probably love this as well. It's called Stars and Sails, and it is a role-playing game that has been very much inspired by the Disney Treasure Planet movie. So think sailing ships in space. It's actually a really good science fiction swashbuckler. It's got an amazing starship system, really colourful character design, a way of designing all manner of alien races and so on, so you can get characteristics of all these different amazing creatures. Skill development, very simple system, very easy to teach to kids, very accessible, but it's got that wonderful kind of Disney vibe to it. I was always a connoisseur of science fiction systems that allowed you random generators to create your own maps and sectors and your own star systems and adventures. So hopefully I've done the one to beat them all in this, where it has a scientific edge to it, where you're generating star systems and so on. But because it's sailing ships, there's also a terrain to it. It's not just a dead map. There's currents and tides within these things. There's maelstroms to avoid. So plotting your way through and drifting with currents and so on actually gives, you know, a larger star sector map a real kind of texture to it. The star systems themselves are bright and colourful and amazing, and there's considerable generation here on the sort of environments you find to make these things really vibrant and alive, but also for generating alien cultures and alien creatures, and also for generating ruins, because there's been like precursor cultures, and plus there's also like been remnants of recent or ancient wars and, you know, pirate bases and this sort of stuff. But there's a way of essentially generating not only alien civilizations, be they primitive or, you know, more advanced, what these civilizations are, you know, what their personality is. So you know, you can find this is forest run place. These creatures here have very few personal boundaries, are extremely enthusiastic about you, but also have communal property. What does that mean? All these things are just going to start crawling all over your ship. They're great. They love to see you, and they keep walking off with your stuff. You know, you can make these kind of things. So you can make a place where there's a xenophobic priesthood, or you can make a place, you know, there's been some kind of disaster, some disease has wiped out a civilization here. Could you catch it? But also a way of generating dungeons in space, a way of making ruins or floating space stations and so on to explore. There's ongoing alien enemies in it, like there's an unpleasant kind of piratical race that, you know, you can cross swords with, and so and so. A great game, a great sandbox game. There's been a very wonderful artist involved who's really got the Treasure Planet style. She's one hell of a cosplayer, by the way, this artist, and she does a Captain Amalia from Treasure Planet, which is chef's kiss. Like, damn, lady. But anyway, again, a game that adults will love, but you can bring younger players into. Young and old, everyone will enjoy it. So we're not making things specifically for like an older set of gamers or young and preteens. These are things that you can enjoy at the level you want. So this is what's coming out from Wizard Tower. I'm really looking forward to doing this. There'll be Kickstarters soon. Watch for announcements. The edits and so on are now in, so development has begun. Art, layout, these sorts of things are all happening. There is a website up at the moment, just with advertising and so on, for Snarkberries. The link's below. So, Schnoots and I will keep writing. There may be a ton of, what do you call them, stretch goals, I guess. If there are, we might do like overarching, well, we'll obviously do more adventures for Snarkberries, but overarching campaigns that have story arcs and so on. There are miniatures appearing for all of this. We may even do soundscapes and music for this as well. So really looking forward to doing this. Very grateful to the support from Wizard Tower, and I'm really hoping to do something special for everyone. Okay, me and Mrs. Snoots, we're signing off. Cheers, everybody. Yay!